All right, guys. Hope you guys are all looking forward to all the events that we got coming up. I want to introduce you guys to a real rock star, Jehan Kotwal. So not only has Jehan have his own business in India, JFK Trucking and Transportation business, at the ripe age of 28, but he also started his first business when he was 17 years old. How many people have started their business when they were 17 years old? None. Okay, one hand there, one hand there. Jehan's working on a lot of great projects. He's working on a project called Hum Safer that's essentially using artificial intelligence to potentially save thousands of lives from preventing accidents. He's been the WZCC youth coordinator for the past 2 years, which has reached over 1,000 people. So just really amazing stuff. So without much further ado, Jehan.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Jehan Kotwal, and I just want to make this very brief because tonight, and today, the whole day we've got really exciting, amazing stuff planned for you guys. So please stay put, and the entire sessions that we have is curated specifically for this day. And since it's the first time we're having something like this, we're truly honored and we're thankful for the Congress to give us this opportunity. It's the first ever WZCC day ever had before in any of the 7 Congresses, so this is the first of many, so please, a round of applause to these guys. Thank you so much. Now, a quick brief on what WZCC is. If you aren't aware, we're the world's thirsty chamber of commerce, and the youth wing is developed specifically to guide and nurture the youth. Our vision is basically to sustainably empower the youth globally. And by 2020, we wish to at least impact every Zartusti youngster all across the world. Thank you. One of the things I would like to start off with very quickly before we enter the networking session is understanding what we do and how you could be empowered, empower yourself by empowering others. Essentially, we work on 5 verticals. Number 1 is networking. Number 2 is mentorship, which you're aware of is a legacy project this time we've taken up. Number 3 is incubation, which is what the Shark Tank is about, getting funded and getting loans for businesses. Number 4 is knowledge sharing, which is also what the earlier 2 speakers were doing. And the 5th one is industry exposure. So what industry exposure is cross-border internships, giving references, creating platforms to engage with each other, and basically elevating the next few global Zartusti billionaires. That's my vision, to be honest. And I hope that happens one day. But without any further ado, I think we would like to just take on Tanaz Mody as our next speaker. Thank you so much, everyone.
Hi guys, I'm Farhan from WZCC. So just before I start, we're skipping break because we're running behind. And now on to our next speaker, Tanaz. Tanaz is the co-founder and the head of operations at Olmo, an early stage tech startup. And the company is looking to take networking to the next level. After establishing herself at large companies such as Bloomberg and Google, she spent the past 6 years building and scaling 3 early stage startups. And now she's presently working in a people's operations role. She has an integral part in building and scaling these organizations from 0 to over 150 people. She holds a bachelor's degree from Boston University, and she lives in New Jersey with her husband, German Shepherd, and 3 daughters. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Tanaz Mody.
Thank you, thank you. This is so awkward. Meeting people for the first time, it's so awkward. The awkward smiles, the sweaty handshakes, and the conversations that go nowhere, yet we all showed up to this event, so kudos. Some of us are attending for professional reasons, and some of us are attending for personal reasons. Some of us are attending, well, because your parents asked you to. If you're attending for personal reasons, just know that everything I'm going to share with you today can be applied for your personal life as well. Okay, let's get serious now. How do we meet someone and actually connect with them? You walk up to someone and say, "Hi." And then you have that pause, that awkward pause. What do you say then? What do you say to take the conversation to the next level? What do you say so this person remembers you? And what do you say so you want to have a conversation with this person again? Well, you end up exchanging business cards, and that's the way networking is done, right? Well, in the stack of business cards that you've gotten, you actually can't pick this person's name out of the bunch. And so you'll send out thank you notes. "Thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you. Let's keep in touch." But what are you keeping in touch with that person about? What a waste of time. But even worse than wasting your time, maybe you don't get as far as introducing yourself. Because not only is it awkward to meet people for the first time, it's nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking to walk up to someone you don't know and spark up a conversation. I've experienced it and have heard it from professionals at all levels in all job types. Have you ever been to a networking event wearing your fancy new black suit and you walk up to the person you want to meet and they hand you their wine glass because they thought you were a server? No? Well, I have. So now, oh yes, oh. So how do we take these interactions that we have and make them worth our time and energy? How do we connect with someone that you don't know and make an impression? And to top it off, what if you absolutely hate networking? Well, we've heard it before, and we've heard it twice today, I think. It's not about what you know, it's about who you know, and this is partially true. There's tons of evidence with knowing the right people to help you get the right jobs and the right promotions. But where do you meet these people? And how do you know you're even picking the right people? Let's start first by breaking down the 4 different ways to connect with someone. First is an immediate trade. I give you something, and you give me something back. I highly advise in the dating world, this is not the way to go about meeting your future partner. The second way is a future trade. I'll do something for you now, and in the future, I'll be asking something of you. This leads to a very narrow transaction. The third way is, I like building relationships. Let's get to know each other. This is great and can lead to some very solid relationships. The fourth way, and the best way in my opinion, and to connect with someone, is to see how you can help them. There's so much value in listening to what someone needs. It shows you believe in them and what they can accomplish. Isn't it great when you meet someone for the first time and you share a mission in the space? Now you have this shared value and have developed a genuine friendship. But to earn this type of respect, you have to build up your knowledge. You don't need a fancy school, and you don't have to be in some niche space. You just have to be knowledgeable and open to sharing. This also connects well with being a Zoroastrian in the good deeds. The good deed here is sharing without expecting something in return. So if you were to ask me what the current networking scene looks like today, I would tell you that it looks like it's stuck in the 1980s. No one goes to mixers and actually mixes, and you all walked in here with your friends, a networking event, and are probably sitting right next to them right now, aren't you? There are many company-sponsored events that are great for networking as well, such as maybe a conference. It's hard to meet people there. In the crowds of thousands of people, these types of events also usually end up leading you to do the business card exchanging. And then there's meetups, meetup.com, which I'm sure quite a few of you are familiar with. There's a variety of events and times and locations, but those can be a bit hit or miss in terms of the content and even the people that you meet there. So how do we expand our current networks? And someone mentioned it earlier, that your networks are usually made up of your friends, family, and current and past colleagues. Sometimes those people are not the best people to turn to when it comes to advice professionally. They have some biases in terms of getting advice, whether it be on leadership or business. So where are you going to meet these people? Let's start by defining networking. Networking is the action or process of interacting with others to exchange information and develop professional or social contacts. Okay, that's brilliant. Exchanging information, not business cards and not all those awkward conversations. So we're going to start here today. We're going to start by forgetting everything that you've heard about networking. I want you to think about stop expanding your network and start thinking about expanding your expertise. When you concentrate on expanding your expertise, you connect with people who you actually think are interesting and who you want to have a conversation with. I was at breakfast this morning, and I won't necessarily tell you who they are, but there were two gentlemen who met each other before earlier in the Congress, and one of them went to go say hi, and the other one said, hello, we've met before. That interaction, they may have not exchanged information that made the conversation memorable. They haven't built that genuine friendship quite yet. So, by expanding your network and sharing your expertise, you get an opportunity to share your knowledge and teach people something they may not already know about that specific topic. You share your insights and you build relationships. It's that simple. We all love knowing experts in our personal life. I personally love knowing who to reach out to when I'm about to book a vacation and see where should I go, what should I see, and where should I stay. I love knowing someone that's been there or lived there that can give me that advice on where to go and what to do. So Jehan's going to be leading a networking event to follow. And what I'm going to ask all of you is to focus on what it is that you're looking to do. Have more meaningful conversations. That may mean that you're only connecting, though, with a handful of people. And it's okay. When you meet someone, rather than focusing on what they do or who they work for, let the conversation revolve around what's their biggest challenge. And in return, maybe you can share a story that might be helpful. Think about how you can be a mini helper in that moment. You're being a helper, you're being a giver and not a taker, and developing a more meaningful connection. You're building a network of people who recognize your value and encouraging others to do the same. You know, givers have stronger relationships and reputations than takers, those who have potentially burnt bridges with their selfishness. Givers also fare better than those transactional people, the first two ways that I showed you earlier with connecting with people. Those people are always keeping score. There are many studies that show that people who give more than they get earn more social capital and status. But you can't game it and give only for show. You have to actually mean it. Because in return, you are building your expertise and that network. So you're learning everything you can about your line of work. You're ready to help, and in return, you're meeting new people. Networking. So I've talked a lot about giving. Now, what about when you're the person that needs the help? Well, if you're like me, you don't like to be a burden on someone else, and even worse than being a burden is rejection. You're trying to get coffee with someone, and they won't give you the time of day. So by not making it about yourself, you're making the ask bigger than just you. It could be about your team getting a project done sooner, or maybe helping you and a colleague make a big decision. There are ways to genuinely ask and leave everyone feeling valued and not used. Mainly, don't make it a transaction, and ask, but don't ask just for yourself. So, you know how to help, you know how to ask for help, but how do you get in touch with the people that you don't know? Luckily, with social media, it's a little bit easier to find those people. You'll be asking probably for a warm introduction, which means you're asking for someone else that knows this person to introduce you. To do this, though, you're going to need a specific reason of why you want to get connected. In that request, again, you can't just ask for something. You'll want to share how you two can potentially collaborate together. Or try this. Maybe then, rather than reaching out to people you don't know, think about your current network that you haven't leveraged yet, their expertise and what you can reach out to them for. Then, once you've connected and you've received that advice, you're going to start thinking about sending maybe a thank you note, a thank you email. No one really sends cards anymore, I guess. But I don't recommend doing it right away. Let the advice come full circle, because that's the biggest reward when someone's offering up their time and help. I'm going to tell you guys a little story about networking and how it can be beneficial. The story is about two people who met for the first time on the beach. They had common friends and ran into one another and were introduced. Their conversation took off from the start. They started discussing what they were passionate about. One lived in New York and the other in Boston. One loved food and the other loved traveling. Come 2 years later, when the person from Boston moved to New York City and was looking for some recommendations on places to eat, she reached out to the foodie that she met roughly 2 years ago for recommendations. This is the story of how I met my husband of now almost 10 years. The beach we met at, was actually at the 2006 Youth Congress in Miami. We remembered each other because we shared what we were passionate about. We shared what we were experts on, and the relationship, it's been priceless, obviously. I believe that networking is not just important when you're looking for a job or when you need something. I think networking is important because, yes, you can get what you need from your network, but more importantly, you can give. It's your unique story and your unique takeaways. It's your life lessons and your great adventures. I've experienced the benefits of networking both professionally and personally. Professionally, I studied hospitality at Boston University, and about 6 months after graduation, I found that hospitality was not where I wanted to be. I jumped and joined the legal world and joined one of New York City's top law firms. The core of my role continued to stay the same, but jumping industries is not easy. From there, I moved on to the tech world and joined Cyrus over at Google for a little bit. From there, I moved on to the financial tech world, and then from there, I made the biggest leap into the startup space where I currently am. To do each of those moves, it was painful. I don't know on that scale of 5 to 10 and all that, how that works, but each and every time I had to leverage my network, share my expertise of what I've known currently and where I want to go, and continue to build it. I could not achieve and be where I am today without the network that I have to support me. About 10 months ago, I've co-founded a company called Olmo. Simply put, we're a concierge-run networking app. You have a request, and we make the connection. We've taken out the need for those shallow conversations and have wanted to create a place where you can meet people you need and want to without all those crazy hurdles that currently exist. But why we started this runs much deeper than that. Because just like I said, so much of who we are and what we know is made up by the people we interact with. We learn from the people around us, which is why I think it's important to continue to grow and learn and keep sharing that expertise knowledge. For those of you who think you have a big network, I'm happy for you, and I'm glad that you have all those people to turn to. If you have a big network, though, think about how much you have to give. I'm going to do my shameless plug now, because I believe in the purpose of what we're building over at Olmo. I encourage you all to download the app. It's available on your iPhones. Not Android quite yet, sorry. For those of you who hate networking events, don't worry. It's all done on your mobile device. You get connected to people right there on your phone. You get connected to people who have the same professions and passions as you. The conversations are done asynchronously, so you don't have to schedule coffee dates or times to meet via video conference. And most importantly, it's free. If you walk away with anything from this talk, I'd love for you to remember that we're all more than the companies we work for or our job titles. And I urge you to learn from one another and collaborate together. Because in life, it certainly helps to know the right people. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, we can do questions now if anyone. I think so, yeah. I obviously not only found awkward, networking awkward, I also find public speaking awkward, so.
So I'm a student leader at a student affinity group in the university I attend, and there's a bunch of other ones. There's like Men of Color, and there's Latinos in Action. I'm the student leader for the UC Blue Ash LGBTQ Alliance group. And obviously our goal as these affinity groups is to make the campus a more inclusive place for all students. But the problem seems to be getting people who are not in these affinities to realize that these groups are also for them and that these things are also to help them. So how can you kind of like network and appeal to people who don't necessarily like identify the same way as you do, but like you want to like help them give these opportunities? Like what are some good ways to get them involved as well?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've actually dealt with this before, and it's an interesting problem to solve. It depends on how you're marketing the groups. I think that it's all in marketing, right? So it's the purpose. We've talked a lot about purpose this morning. The purpose behind what you're doing is very important to share. And then from there, it's about how do you work with other folks that can join those associations as well. Depending, you should take a look at potentially what type of events you're holding, and is it, does it appeal to the broader audience? And I would just really hone in on the purpose of what you're doing and how potentially it would attract other folks to join.
Thank you.
Yeah.
First, thank you for your talk. It was a great talk. And then I actually work for Toyota headquarters back in Dallas. And since I'm so young and since I am a girl, typically people have a tendency to kind of throw their back stuff at me. So like they'll say, hey, like this is an easy job, can you just take care of it? And I like to like, take on that stuff and help people. But then there's like a tendency where like people my age, I see them getting, I don't want to say taken advantage of, but they end up taking on more of a workload because they get to know the people more personally. Mm-hmm. So how would you suggest to kind of make that divide of, okay, like I'll help you with this work stuff, but I'm not gonna lower how much I do, if that makes sense?
Yeah. I've actually recently read a study about this, how women get like 40 or 60% higher requests for some of this like office housework, as they're like taking notes in meetings and things like that. And if we potentially like don't do it, kind of what the reaction is of the team or the leader or the manager on a woman versus a male. Yeah. So that's interesting, good question. So first is when you do get assigned these tasks, make sure that you're seeing the whole project through. So if you're sitting in a meeting and you're taking notes and it's the start of a project or something or a meeting, make sure that you eventually are the one potentially maybe that's like leading the meeting, or you're the one that's actually presenting the project, present in the room, in front of the room, and you're not sitting in the back. And that's how you slowly start kind of getting your foot definitely more in the front fields. Mm-hmm. The other hurdles with this is like, yes, you raise your hand and you say, sure, I'll go ahead and do that. In big associations and big companies, it's hard sometimes to stand out. So again, like focusing on what you're good on and leveraging that with the other people that you can collaborate closely with is potentially a good way to start building from there. Okay, good. But yeah, make sure you're the one in the front of the room presenting those presentations and things.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi Tanaz, my name is Afshan. Thank you for the presentation. I'm also a wine glass person in Boston, actually, so maybe it's a Boston thing. But my question is, how do you keep these connections going? So the first time you interact with somebody, the give and take happens, but how do you keep these connections to keep being nurtured throughout years?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, like if you go to a conference and you're exchanging business cards, it's not bad to get someone's contact information. You want their card, right? But more importantly, like if you look at that card, you have to have something that you're going to remember them by and you want to connect with them on. And so I don't know how much of an answer is this for you, but it's going to be natural. You're going to see that when you're connecting with people that you're collaborating with and that have common interests as you, the conversation, you don't have to try as much. It flows much quicker, much better, much more fluidly. So I don't know how much of an answer is that for you, but it's definitely, it's about finding the right people that you connect with.
Thank you.
Hi.
I wanted to ask more about the startup that you said, Olmo. How did you start with that? If you could tell the story, did you find the right group of network? Because you said the reason you started was the awkwardness in networking. So how did you bring that group of people together, or how did you get to the idea to start this? If you could tell that story.
Yeah. So, I'm the queen of awkward moments. So, so networking has always been on my mind, and it's always been a key part of my career. So about, what was it, back probably about like 5-6 years ago, I joined a company called Drama Fever. If anyone watches Korean dramas, it's a Korean drama streaming company. And it's a very niche space, but I joined, and that was my first move into the startup space. I took that company through 2 acquisitions and scaled the company to over 150 employees. And there was a lot of hurdles in scaling a company and going through acquisitions. And what we realized is the CEO and I realized that there was the knowledge gap was the network of everyone internally. Is that we could send people out to lynda.com. I don't know who's here from what company, so I'm not going to bash any learning platforms. They're great. They're great they're great, but not necessarily for those soft skills, like how do you grow a team and things like that. And so to start Olmo, I've actually partnered with my old CEO from 2 companies ago. And that's like where Olmo kind of came from, is that we saw this big gap. It's hard to meet people.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
First of all, congratulations for co-founding your company. I think that's really brave, and you've really stuck out. So my question has to do with the fact that you don't have a background necessarily in tech. So you mentioned you've got a bachelor's in hospitality, but here you are now, co-founded your own tech company.
You just have to be nice to people, right?
So I think it's like a two-part question. How do you find the transition? And also, what do you say to girls and women in the room who kind of, are thinking about a career in tech or in STEM? And what are the challenges that you faced? And how do you encourage them to kind of pick up a career in STEM? Just to know from your experiences.
So my background is in hospitality management, not technology. So I think someone earlier had asked a question about getting a master's in tech. And to me, I mean, I guess you could, I picked up the skill sets as I've gone along. And has it been easy? No, definitely not. It's been painful in sometimes very rewarding. But what I found is that I'm very interested in it. And it's difficult. And, through the last, I don't know how long I've been working, but over a dozen years or so, I've gotten married. I have 3 kids. I have a house outside of New York City. When I had my first daughter, I was working at Bloomberg at the time, and I'm sitting there at my desk, and my manager had just had a conversation with me, and she's like, so you'll come back in 3 months, and here I am, my mom is telling me you should stay home with the baby. You have a baby now. You need to be responsible for her. I'm like, of course I love her. I want to be with her. But how do I just stop working so I can be with her? And this girl that sits next to me, she was just like, just do it. Just do it all. And so, I mean, I don't know if many of you know this. I had a baby 3 months ago, and I said, I'm still coming to this Congress. Because you can't take no for an answer, and if you want to do something, you just have to do it now. Don't do it tomorrow. If you want to start losing weight, don't wait till tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock when you wake up. Start doing it now as soon as you decide. And I think that's what's always kept me moving forward, is that if I am looking to do something, I don't push it down. So that's my advice, is just do it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have a question about ethical aspect of networking.
Sorry, I can't hear you very well.
I have a question about ethical aspect of the networking. So usually I want to do the networking with the person who share the same knowledge base, or it's in the same industry, and more in focus in the similar product with the person who developed the similar products. But usually those people are from competitive companies, and they're not, I'm always confused ethically, is it okay to do the networking with them, and what is the level? So I was wondering if you can share your perspective.
Yeah, so I highly encourage you to continue doing that. The question for you though, back is, how are you getting in touch with these people?
LinkedIn or mostly cultural aspect of it. So like Iranian groups come together, so they're all working in all different competitive companies.
So the value of growing your network is that you have more people to potentially to do those warm introductions for you. The warm introduction is the key to starting potentially that conversation. Going cold to someone and reaching out on LinkedIn is very difficult. If a lot of you have your LinkedIn accounts, like which I'm sure you do, it's a business marketing tool for yourself, a personal tool. Your inbox is flooded with sales and business development people, and so your messages are potentially getting lost in those messages. So my advice first to you is like to go back to see how you're getting connected with these people and start leveraging it from there. And this is actually one of the reasons why we've started Olmo, is because there's people that want to do career changes, right? And they're looking to get into a different field, and they don't know anybody there. And it's unfortunate if there's no one to do a warm introduction for you. But yeah, I would go back to seeing how you're connecting with these people. If you're doing cold reach outs, the success rate is usually very low, in the single digits. Versus like a warm intro, the success rate is up in the 90s. So,
as a person who developed the networking inside the company, did you try to discourage people to have networking with the competitive company?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the full question.
As a person who developed the networking inside your own company, did you try to discourage your employees, your peoples to have less networking to the competitive?
No, I think everyone should talk to everybody. Down in the success, and like we're all trying to do something a little unique in our own ways, and no, I highly encourage. Like when I first started in the startup space, it was my goal to get out there and talk to other people in similar roles in the similar industry. And when I joined a company called Aptiv, which is a fitness app, there's tons of fitness apps out there. My goal was to go meet all the other people doing my role in the similar industry. And now we're very friendly with each other, and I mean, you don't share company insights by any means, but there's certain hurdles, especially the more soft skills, that you can work through together.
Thank you.
Oh. Thank you. Stay here.
We'd like to invite Ms. Sharnaz Bhandara to please felicitate Tanaz.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Everyone excited for speed networking? I don't think that sounds like excitement. Anyone and everyone excited for speed networking? Are you ready to get shit done? Okay, so this is probably one of our most fun events we're going to have today. Shark Tank as well. So let's just go down and just give you guys what it's going to look like for the next session, which is going to immediately happen in the Colonial Room. They're going to be round tables of 10 seats each, and each of you will be given 1 minute, of course, and there'll be a moderator to see to it that you stick to that time or not decrease or increase, and each of you will be saying who you are, what do you do, of course, and what are you looking for, in the sense that there has to be some kind of value that you're here for. If it's a contact, it's a lead, it's a job, it's a business idea, anything, what are you looking for? So on your way there, just think about that. Be mindful of maybe something that you really are looking out from that group of 10 people. And because this is a Zartushti group, I'm pretty sure everyone will be excited to help. So in the same way, the first thing is that what are you looking for? And the second question you could answer is what can you give back? So for example, I run a trucking company. I'm looking for someone in social media marketing, and I can give back leads in the logistics space, or leads on how to start a business through getting VC funding. So anything like that, just keep it short, brief. We're going to do this really quick. We'll probably have 4 to 5 rounds, so you all will be meeting around 40 to 50 new people, and it's not going to be, it's going to be pretty like business and pretty professional in the sense that get shit done types. Sorry, I'm saying that word too many times. But if any of you have any questions, you will be having a moderator on that table. You've been assigned 30 moderators, and they'll be controlling the group. All the shifting and shuffling will be happening. You'll have 1 minute to introduce yourself, so 10 people, 10 minutes, and then you'll have a 10-minute group discussion. So within that group discussion, try to see if you can create value for the other person first by giving back of what you said, and hopefully we're going to have a great time. So looking forward. Thank you all the speakers. Thank you everyone for being here.